This is my favorite camera I've ever shot with, and I've been doing photography for over a decade now. So for me to say that the Fujifilm X-E4 is my favorite camera I've ever shot with, that's a big statement for me to make. And there's quite a few reasons as to why I say it's my favorite camera I've shot with, but the absolute base detail about this is that it's fun to shoot with. For me, it makes photography fun again. It's so small and compact that it's not intrusive when I'm out doing street photography. It's an easy everyday carry for me. It takes great portrait and landscape shots, which are my two main focuses. And it's so simple to use that it doesn't overcomplicate my process. I've got it with the 27mm 2.8 lens. And for me, this is a perfect focal length. It's not a full frame sensor, so there is some cropping. So if you compare it to a full frame sensor, it makes the focal length more like 44mm. And as someone that's always been a fan of the 35 to 50mm range, that is bang on. And I also love the fact I don't have to edit the photos. I shoot in JPEG plus RAW, so if I do capture anything that I do want to edit and I want to put some time into perfecting that, I can, but I don't have to edit them. All of the photography that you've seen come out of me that's come out of the Fujifilm X-E4 has been straight out of camera. The film simulations, which we're going to dive into in a minute, are so good. The colours are so nice. I don't need to do anything. At the absolute max, I might straighten up the crop. But in all honesty, a lot of the time I don't even bother. Knowing that I can go out and snap a load of photos and they already look so good that I don't have to go and edit them, it makes the whole process a lot more enjoyable. Because as I grow from my photography career and I find myself doing more paid work, I find myself behind the laptop more. So being able to go out and enjoy photography and upload it straight away without having to sit at the laptop and edit is a genuine pro. And it brings us back to it makes it more fun. I also genuinely believe that having this camera is making me both a better photographer and more creative. I say more creative because it's a fixed focal length and I have no other lenses for this camera. If that's the only camera I've got with me, I have to get creative capturing certain scenes, certain shots. I can't just swap lens and cater to the situation I'm in by doing that. I have to think on my feet and get creative. And I think it's making me a better photographer because with any skill you need to put in your 10,000 hours. And having a camera that is this portable means I'm carrying it around with me all the time. So I'm shooting more, I'm banking in more of those 10,000 hours. Also, this camera slows me down more than when I shoot with my Sony. There's a delay of 5 seconds when you press the shutter before you can then take another photo. And that might not sound like a lot, but in today's fast-paced society, and we are wired to being fast-paced, having that 5-second buffer is enough time to slow you down, think about your scene, think about your composition, think about your settings, put a bit more thought into the image you're about to take. Now I said we'd come back to the film sims. They look good. All the colors in the Fuji are just dialed in and they look so good. And the film simulations built in, you can customize and adjust the look. So there are literally thousands of options of film simulation and thousands of options of coloring that you can go for. The Fuji colors just look good. I also use this camera as a supporting B-roll camera. Not all the time, and not as a run and gun second camera. But sometimes if I want to quickly capture a scene, I'll flick this camera into movie mode and capture it on the Fuji. Now the one thing that's not the best about this camera is that the autofocus isn't great. I don't know if that's the body or the lens that's the issue, but I have no intention of getting another lens, so we'll never know. But if you have this camera or you're gonna get this camera and you're thinking about shooting a bit of film on it, my piece of advice would be to either use manual focusing or single point focusing. Single point focusing is what I've been using recently and I'm getting on with it really well. Especially for my style of filmmaking, it's static, still compositions. I don't need the autofocus. And this brings us back around to making me more creative. Knowing that I don't have the autofocus function, I have to get more creative with the shots I'm getting, which has actually ultimately led to me getting some really cool pieces of B-roll and some really cool shots that I wouldn't have got otherwise. And coming back around as well to make me a better photographer, it makes me a better filmmaker. All in all, I'm absolutely loving this camera. I think the best way to sum it up is with the 3 Ps. Portable, pocketable, and practical. It's so small and so lightweight, it is easily portable, it is literally always in my bag, whether it's my camera bag or my work bag, I always have this thing with me. It's pocketable. I can literally put this in the pocket of my jeans, of my cargos, of my hoodies, of my coats. This can easily slip in and come with me anywhere. And it's practical. Because of the size, because of the form factor, it just doesn't stand out, it's not in your face. It's really good for capturing candid moments, BTS. I call it my tourist camera. It's more when I want to capture tourist photos, really casual in the moment, behind the scenes sort of images. And also when you're out and about with friends, it's a lot less intimidating to have this pointed at them than a big boy mirrorless or DSLR. So after a year shooting with the Fujifilm X-E4, I absolutely love it. This is a banger camera, it was so worth the investment. Generally the only gripes I have with it are the autofocus, which isn't even that bad as I've already explained. I genuinely cannot think of another issue with this camera. That is, now that I'm thinking about this, I don't actually have any other thing of this camera that I dislike or have a gripe about it with. So that says a lot. So that's it. Peace.